So, I mean, I'm going to begin by asking, about the success of the first series. Even though deserved, even though I'm sure you're incredibly proud of what you did, is it always come as a nice, pleasant surprise when you make something, put it out there, and people respond to it in the way that they did?
Best. Definitely. I mean, I actually live my life without expectations, so I don't sort of preempt what people are going to feel about something, because you may be disappointed or maybe it's like level. But when you don't expect anything, you're either surprised or it's like, oh, okay, that's how it was. And so to put it out there and be like, everyone start roaring about it, and like social media going off, because obviously we were locked inside our houses for that year, which probably meant more people watched it than maybe they would, but I don't care how we got our audiences as long as we keep them in the second series. But yeah, the response was excellent, and even like being stopped in the street to be like, yo, when's season 2 coming? That excitement, it's it's a wonderful experience.
It's affirming because it also just kind of reaffirms the decisions you made, all the things, the instincts you had when you're putting together that first season. It wasn't just us getting excited about them. It carried on.
Is there more of like a swagger going into second season when you know something's been well received? Is there a slightly different atmosphere on set? Would you say?
Different walk. Yeah, we all started walking around. Check it out.
There's definitely like a confidence.
Yeah, that's not
that
like, swagger.
hey, this works. Let's not mess it up.
It was more of an efficiency, wasn't it? Like I certainly. We could hit the ground running a bit because we had done all of the work building that world, hoping that it would translate, people would enjoy it, and then once they did and we got season 2, it was like, right, we know the characters, we know the world, we don't have to worry or doubt that, we can get on with getting into the next season.
And one thing I love about this is not just the kind of gritty undercurrent, but the kind of choreographed sort of sequences, the fight sequences. They're incredible to watch. How are they to prepare for from both of your perspectives?
I was, I learned a lot in season 1 watching Gareth work, and he's obviously come from he's the master of action. But then to a lot of extent, putting together a great action sequence is like putting together a great horror sequence or suspense sequence, and you have to really prepare. You can't accidentally just make a great action scene. It takes incredible time, prep, crafting, lots of departments, so that when you get to the actual day when we're filming and they're on set and we've got 2 or 3 days to pull it off, everything kind of goes to plan. So it's a real, it's fun and it's crazy, but it also comes down to a lot of meticulous planning.
I think I just want to take this opportunity to shout out the action department, the stunt designer, coordinators. For me, it's often just a really good time, Obviously, you're putting your body through it, and sometimes that hurts. But actually, I don't think I've ever been like badly injured doing any of the sequences on this series, because we have a deep respect and take good care of each other. So there's some physical preparation that goes into it, and there's the rehearsal, the choreography. But more often than not, my memories coming away from all of that pre-preparation is just like really enjoyed hanging out with the boys today.
Yeah.
I know it's a bit of an age-old conversation, and when Tarantino was asked, he shut down reporters' butt for it, I think it was. But in terms of depicting violence on screen, because this is a very violent series, you want to make it cinematic, you want to make it entertaining, but is there that balance? Because you never want to make it feel glorified, never want it to feel gratuitous. I just wondered about the kind of conscious sort of balancing act when it comes to the violence.
It is exactly that. I'm very conscious of it. It is a balancing act. It is partly a matter of taste. It's juggling a kind of visceral aesthetic with what is demanded in the narrative, and then how you present that. And it's a very cinematic show. I think it got the reaction it got because of the way, in part, we were showing the action and showing the violence. And I just think there's a hell of a lot of elements to it, and there's an art in doing it right, and that's what we tried to do.
Were there any scenes where you just thought, okay, this one might be a bit too much? And if there were scenes like that, just out of interest, did they make the final cut?
Yes, there were. Yes, they did. Yeah.
But I love that characters die in this. How important do you think it is to have a series that isn't afraid to kill off people? Because it shows how high the stakes are.
Game of Thrones has changed the landscape, I reckon. Like when they took off Ned Stark, at the end of series 1. And I think the entire viewership were just like, hang on, so who's safe? Like, who are we supposed to root for now? Maybe it'll be Robb Stark. He's gone as well. It's just like, anyone that you love can go. It's just... So now if you watch something and there isn't that peril, there isn't that jeopardy, then I feel like it's less enjoyable. You commit less to it because... I don't know what the science of the reason is.
It needs
but
to feel dangerous, and like you, I think gangs the tension relies on not knowing where it's going, story-wise, action-wise, not feeling safe. You know, you've got to kind of care for the characters and fear for them.
I was going to ask as well, do you think being in this and being associated with this programme has made you see London differently at all?
I'll tell you what, Corin just mentioned that how much heroin you can fit, the value of the heroin you can fit in the back of the white van. And I know from now on, every time I see a white van go past, I'm going to be like, how much is that carrying? Is there heroin in that one?
1.5 million,
exactly.
3 tons.
I'm going to start sticking up some white vans. It's going to be like, what have you got in the back? Because if it's worth 1.5 mil, then maybe it's mine now. But honestly, off the back of the first series, there's the sequence in the first episode where Elliot takes Besmir through into a shop that's got like newspapers on the outside or posters. And there's so many of those across the city. And you think, oh, that's just an empty unit. No one's using that. But as soon as you get in, you're into a different world, you know? There are so many doors that are closed to the ordinary person, I mean, at all levels. So it did make me start to think about, like, actually, what more is this city that I haven't experienced yet?
And just very finally, you mentioned the people who are stopping you on the street asking you about a second season. There'll be plenty of people in a few months' time asking you about a third, so I want to try and get in there first. Do you know what I mean? This story is one that could go for many years. Are there thoughts about a third season already and where these characters could go?
There absolutely is, and I look forward to seeing where it goes.
Yeah, I think it's just a case about, like, when we created the first one, we were on instinct. We created this thing that we were all proud of. And the response was excellent. Hopefully, if the response is as good this time around, then we'll have to continue to give the people what they want.
Cool, I'm sure it will be. Thank you so much, guys. Much appreciated.
Cheers.
Have a good one. Cheers, take care. Thank you. Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.